So Megan, welcome to the Miale team, Friday morning leadership and
Y'all are
personal.
amazing. Y'all are amazing for being on this at 8:30. You're amazing for wanting to be on it and learning. So kudos to every one of you. And
Yeah, they don't have a choice. It's a
kudos to Matt.
it gets real rough if they choose not to show
Listen,
up.
I hear that. We run our
Yeah.
team the same. I hear that.
So Megan, you're one somebody from your team, I can't remember her name, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I heard a little bit about the Miale team, and I think you and Megan should connect."
Yeah.
And so just to give you some background, I started this call about 5 or 6 years ago when I was in the journey of building the real estate team, and I acknowledged and recognized that because I was the guy with the name on the sign, I had the good fortune to get in a lot of rooms and be around a lot of really smart people. And people invited me places and always wanted to know what I was up to. And that was cool. And that felt good for a minute. But I would come back to my team from whatever mastermind I was at or meeting I was at. And I would try to unload in like, sound bites and machine gun style, like, here's everything I learned and we should all fix it. And this is the way it should go. And realized that I was really, really terrible at that part of the process. That taking 3 days of deep knowledge and trying to unload it on people in sound bites is not the best way to help people grow. And so I realized that I was the bottleneck in that situation, that the consistent theme was that I wasn't effective at delivering the messages that needed to be delivered. So I said, I'm just going to get out of the way. And I'm going to bring the leaders to the team rather than try to be the voice of all things. And so we just started bringing smart people to the team who've done really cool things from all walks of life. Our overriding purpose of this call is healthier, wealthier, happier.
Okay.
And so somebody like yourself that's had a lot of success in the business and is, on a fast track trajectory is exactly who we love to bring in here to kind of hear your story. So welcome, Megan. Welcome to the Miale
Thank,
team morning call.
thank you. I love that self-reflection, Matt, as far as the bottleneck. That's great.
It's almost always like one of
Yeah.
one of my ongoing sayings is if you have a problem, you are the problem,
Right.
right? Which is the thing
Yeah.
that most people don't like to
It's
acknowledge.
a
But if you
great
have,
leader. No, it's a
yeah,
great.
if you have a problem, you are the problem. So just get to work figuring it out. So Megan, I've noticed a lot of things about you. You're a mom, you're a wife, you've got an amazing business, you're in one of the most active markets in the country. And how many years now in the industry?
So I've been in it for 12 years now. And also, forgive me, we are on day 6 of an ice storm, basically. We haven't had an ice storm like this in 30 years. It has taken out, we still have hundreds of thousands of people without power. So when you see my jug of coffee, I want you to like take your judgment eyes away because thank God I've had power this entire time. But
Don't worry,
our city
we are
grew
talking
up.
to New Englanders. We live in that. Like we
I
live in
know.
that state of
We're
uncertainty.
just not prepared, you guys. Like we live very like, oh, it'll be fine. God will take care of us. And the Lord does provide. But I mean, trees have fallen. Like I said, hundreds of thousands of people are still without power. I still have 3 agents without power. So forgive me when you see my jug. But yes, I started doing this I got my license in 2014. I was a corporate girly, loved corporate, wanted to climb the ladder. And the more I climbed, the more I was like, oh, there's always a ceiling. And that's not a ceiling for women. That's just a ceiling of if you want to raise, you got to go to HR. And if you
Mhm.
want additional days off, you get so many days off a year. And, it became kind of like this constant. I wanted to be more efficient and do my job more efficiently. And I always had to ask to do that. And I was like, oh, this doesn't really like make sense or resonate. And so I just,
A
yeah,
mentor of mine once said to me early in my career, entrepreneurs are the only people that will choose to work
right,
80 hours a week so that they don't
right.
have to work 40. And I
Yes.
was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's me. Yes. Yeah. Don't tell me what to do for 40 hours. I'd
No.
rather work double that and be able to do it my own way. So
Right.
understood.
Exactly. And just as if like if some I'm kind of like you. I'm like if something's not working, I'm like, okay, is it the process or is it the person? If it's the process, let's fix the process. If it's the person, let's address that and what's going on with that. So, being able to just make those quick pivots and to always ask my team like what's going down and what's not, like that's it's invaluable for a person like my brain to need to move like that.
So you said you were in corporate. What part of like what field were you in? What were you doing?
So I had a couple of different fields. So our largest power distributor here in the Southeast region is TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, and it serves power to the entire Southeast. So I was a strategic planner for the vice president of energy efficiency there. And then I went on to work for vaccine research at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. And if
Okay.
you're anywhere near Tennessee, you know Vanderbilt is like this institution that everybody looks at, and every parent's like, my kid has to work at Vanderbilt. And then you get to Vanderbilt and you're like, oh. You know, it's just another institution. It's just another job.
It's
But
just another circus with a
yeah,
different bunch of clowns. Yeah, I
but what it
understand.
did teach me was to organize my day, how to deal with people of wealth, how to speak to people, how to organize meetings, like how to really get buttoned up on that admin side that I think has really helped and catapulted my real estate company because I think or what I notice, not what I think, what I'm noticing is like a lot of realtors are just like squirrel, and that admin side is not the enjoyable, sexy side, right, guys? Like we want to sell houses, we want to be on the gram, like we want to be on TikTok, like we want to be out with clients, but 80% of being out with clients is the not cute work that we do behind the scenes. So that's where I think the corporate foundation really set me up to go new heights.
Often, we often talk about on the team that the greatest gift coming into the real estate business is to have had some professional experience
Right.
prior to,
Right.
because you recognize actually how easy this job is.
Okay.
Like that the reality of this whole like, oh, woe is me, I have to lead gen, like it's like, oh, you want to feel the pressure of a boot on you, go get a
Okay.
job where, I've shared this story a million times. My first job, professional career job, was in 1998, and I had to get up every morning to be
Mhm.
in the office by
Mhm.
8:15 a.m. to be on time for a sales meeting at 8:30,
Mhm.
and I had to wear a suit and tie
Right.
every
Right.
day. And that meant I had to get up early enough to shower, shave, because this whole thing wasn't acceptable back then. This was not a professional scene that you could pull
Right.
off. Shower, shave, and then put a suit on, which meant that I had to have suits that were pressed. I
Right.
had to have shirts that were pressed. I had to have a belt that matched my shoes. I mean, I was
Yeah.
23 years old. Like, I
Right.
had to learn all this stuff just to get to work on time and not get fired for being late. And
Right.
we've lowered the bar so much, especially in our industry, around just the basic expectations. That corporate background allows you the freedom to recognize, like, oh, this is beautiful. Like, this is beautiful. I don't have to. I can do this all the way I want to do it. It gives you a ton of freedom. So you're in the corporate environment. I am always fascinated by how people wind up in real estate, because I often, it's rare that you talk to somebody and they're like, I shouldn't, I mean, it happens, but we've had hundreds of guests. It's very rare that people are like, I always knew I wanted to be a real estate agent. Like, there's like,
Right.
it's not genuinely like one of those, like people like know when they're 16, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher.
That's
I want to
right.
be
Yeah.
like, how did you find yourself here?
What was the calling, right?
Yeah, how did this happen? Because again, I could go through the list of everybody. Everyone here has a story of like accidental, like, I
Sure.
found myself in this industry. Like this happened, this happened, this happened, and then I thought maybe this, right? So
I think I had the exact same path. I was in a leadership class at the chamber. In our leadership, we had two coaches, and one of them was a fairly successful real estate agent. And I knew at my kind of pivotal that corporate strict salary was not for me. But if I could do like a salary plus bonuses, and back in that early 2010s, y'all remember med sales, especially the females in here. Med sales was the big thing. Like everybody was in med sales. And so I was like, I'll just go into med sales. Like that sounds great. I can do a salary plus bonus. I was single, not married. My parents are wonderful, but they were like, have an amazing day. We're done supporting you. And so it wasn't like, oh, I failed, I need rent, right?
Mhm.
So it was just kind of all on me. And so he just kind of kept pushing me. He's like, I think real estate is for you. And I was like, it's just too risky. It's 100% commission. I can't figure it out. We're going another way. But finally one day I was like, I'm just going to pull the trigger after a couple years of just like kind of marinating on it. So it took me a minute, and I just kind of, and my corporate job was really demanding. So it wasn't like I had, everybody talks about the 5 to 9 after the 9 to 5. I didn't
Mhm.
really have that 5 to 9 because my corporate job was really demanding. And so it took me a couple years, but I finally hunkered down. I was like, I'm going to get my license. And I still had to have my corporate job for probably 18 months while I got my boots wet and my feet muddy. And if that's not a Southern word for y'all, Southern lingo.
That's really, really hard to do. Like well,
Mhm.
it's incredibly rare for someone to be able to dual career themselves into success.
Well, you just
Very,
kind of
very.
have to like work on the weekends. You do open houses on Sundays, you work on Saturdays. I would leave during lunchtime to go do showings, and my corporate job had no idea because they would absolutely have fired me. And so it got to the point where I was like, I'm working 7 days a week, 18 months. And if I can just get a couple of sales to just give me enough of a nest egg, then I can feel comfortable making that jump. And so that's when I made the jump, was I
I'm
think
I'm
August.
very curious. Did you have kids yet at that point? No. So were you married yet?
No,
Okay.
I
So
didn't have a boyfriend. It was just me.
yeah. So your primary, you basically had one singular focus, and you
Yes.
put all your energy into career and work, right? So you were burning the candle at both ends, all in, 100%, no excuses, no separation, just doing the work.
Right.
And that's I think the thing for everybody, anybody who's listening to this, anybody who's watching this, to understand the dual career success route is not one that most people can do because they generally
Right.
have obligations outside of just getting up and going to work every day. So you had a full-time job, which you would have got fired from if they knew,
Right.
and you were all in on open houses, every other thing, just work, work, work until you got to that point where you had enough things to launch from.
Right.
Give me like time frame on this. What year was that? This is like you said, 2014 is when you got into the business.
2014 and 2016, I met with my broker, and I was like, I can't burn the candle anymore. Like I've got to figure out how to generate more, because I was doing all the things, right? Like I was farming, I was doing all the things they tell you to do in real estate school, and they tell you to do on like your first day of real estate class, which y'all are so lucky to have Matt in the team because you can skip all that BS. I don't know if we cuss in New England, but
Oh, we sure
doing the
do.
you can skip the bullshit. And
Yeah.
you can just say that doesn't work. You can skip the money, you can skip the postage, you can skip all that. And so I gone to my broker and I was like, I'm doing all the things you're telling me to do, but I'm generating, one sale every quarter or something like that. And she was like, you need to join a team, you need trial by fire. And so that's what I did. I joined a team in August of 2015. And that was, we did Zillow. He did not give any personal leads. So I just hit the Zillow, and I would get up at midnight when a Zillow lead called, and I would answer their call, and I would meet them out at these houses. We should never do that. That's another story for another day. But like the things that we would do to just get in front of people and get sales. And so
So
that's what,
you got reps. Yeah, you got
yeah,
reps is what happened. Yeah, you got the ability to go out and do the reps, and
yeah,
those reps gave you the skill set to be able to move
right,
faster.
right.
Awesome. So you transition out of a corporate gig, you get into real estate.
Yeah,
You give that 18 months kind of like you're doing everything you're supposed to do, but you're selling 4 or 5 houses a year. And
right,
you go, okay, this isn't a full-time career, right? Four to
right.
five houses a year is not a full-time
Not
career,
gonna pay my
not
bills.
enough money. I know I'm capable of more. I got to make a shift. Your broker says, okay, you got to join a team, which is this when you ditched the other job?
This is when I ditched the other job, was when I joined the team. Yep.
Yeah. So you decide, okay, I'm full time now. Like even
I
though
got
you
it.
may have been putting quote unquote full time hours in, but you
Right.
decided this is now my only career. I'm going to be a full
No
time.
longer have that paycheck and that health insurance and all that, right?
Awesome. So you jump in. Tell us about that first year of full time. Like I like to peek behind the curtain because what we see 10 years on is the success story, right? What we see is she just did it, she just got it done, like it, but there's no way it was easy. There's
No.
no way it was smooth. There had to be moments where you were like, I think I'm just going to go back to selling. Man,
Yeah.
that corporate salary was so comfortable.
Yeah.
Boy, wouldn't it be nice to get a paycheck every 2 weeks? I mean, half the team here is thinking, as I'm saying it, they're like,
Yeah.
preach, Matt. That sounds good. Like we all know it,
They're
right?
like, is he in my LinkedIn DMs? Like, how's
Yeah.
he?
Yeah. So there's something I think that is like the essence of what gives people the energy and the runway to break through. You weren't
Yeah,
married, you didn't have kids. You were, this is not like you were riding on somebody else's salary. You
right,
didn't have a safety net. You just had a commitment to
right.
a certain level of success. So what do you think gave you that? What was the vision you had? How did you know this is for me? I'm going to do this.
Ooh,
By the way, I'm notorious for asking the tough questions.
I
So
know. Like, could we have gotten like a heads up on these?
no, none at all. Zero. No.
No, that's easy. I mean, I'm going to be, and I hear y'all and I see y'all. So I have a team. I don't have a team of agents this large. I have 4 full-time agents and I have 2 admin W-2 staff, and then we have 2 interns. So we run kind of a large business on a very small scale. We still do 100 homes, 100 to 120 homes a year. And then last year we did 92 million in volume. So we run a lean ship, but we run a big ship, if that makes sense. Like we
Totally.
were the sixth in Compass for Tennessee last year. So we run lean, but we run big. So we're very systematic and we're very on top of it. So I say that to say, I hear where all of y'all are, and I speak to my agents about this almost every week. We have a meeting called Assassins because I tell them I want to turn them into little assassins and then like release them to the streets. It is not overnight. It is not in year one. It is not in year three. It is a constant, you get up when everybody else is sleeping. You are working when everybody else is away with their children. And I have a 3 and 5 year old. I do have a husband. He is an accountant. And he does help a lot at home, but it's a constant restructuring, reconversation of everyone's roles and what is productive, right? And so instead of having this constant bell curve that realtors tend to have, because you have a lot of business, you had a great month, you're not doing any marketing and any outreach and any cold calls, you go down, right? And then you're like, oh, shoot, I'm broke. I got to go figure out how to get more business. You go do all the things you're supposed to do, all of your lean jigs, you're having your coffees, you're having your reach outs, you're following up with your past clients. Then you have another good month. So, like, I decided early on that this wave for me did not work. And that causes me so much stress. And especially in these winter months, I remember going to, because I leaned in, y'all. I went to every conference. I was in every class. Like if there was something and I was in my best, I was you mad in my heels. I was in my J. Crew skirt because we all wore the J. Crew frills in 2016. And I was there, right? And I was just present and I was listening. And I remember going to a conference in 2016 in October, and the speaker was like, this is the moment where realtors stop working 25% because they're getting ready for Thanksgiving. Then they stop working another 25% because they're getting ready for Christmas. And then they stop working altogether because it's Christmas, it's New Year's, it's all of that. And then they wonder why their January, February, March pipeline is dry. And then the panic sets in. And I was like, oh, that doesn't work for me. Like I'm single. And even when I was married, I got married in late 2016. Even when I was married, it's still, in my brain, I mean, I didn't get married till I was 30 something. So in my brain, it was still on me. And so that curve and that wave doesn't work for me. And so what I always remember is what I do today pays me in 90 days, pays me in 180 days. So I don't, if I need the money, I needed to work 3 months ago and I got to work on that 3 months ago. And
Yeah.
so that's where I think my brain, and to this day, 12 years later, to this day, that is still my brain. It is my
That
weird
that's
of an
that
ice
is
storm
so
and I am here working. Do you know what
that
I mean?
yeah, that level of clarity is like I'll often use the language, you can change your life in 90 days, which is like this is the only business that you can do that.
Mhm.
But in order to change your life in 90 days, you have to change what you do today. Like you
Mhm.
have to have some version of you that shows up today that's different than the version of you that showed up yesterday in order to have a different life 90 days from now. But this is if anyone on this call puts 2 houses under contract in the next 2 weeks, your 90 days from now is going to be dramatically different than if you
Right,
don't do that. And
right,
it's actually as easy as going and putting two pieces of business under contract. We fall into the routine of just following the task list
right.
and sort of going through the motions, especially here. This is the downside that I'm starting to acknowledge or recognize in running a large team is that we do give people a checklist of things to do every day, and some people just do that. And
Yes,
that is actually a danger. That's a danger. It's like you would operate with a sense,
right.
with a broader sense of urgency if you didn't get to check a box and say, well, I did my job today. I showed up on the morning
Right.
call. and I showed up at the training and I just sort of like went on the Facebook page and like thumbsed up a bunch of stuff. Like that's not doing the
Right,
job. The
right,
job
right.
part is the stuff that you're supposed to be responsible for outside of the things the team requires you to do outside of that, which is this is the thing that you said, Megan, which is really important. You talked about this process of improvement. You said that you recognized that where you were wasn't where you wanted to be, and then you immediately shifted into I'm gonna hello, good morning. Do you have time off of school?
I told y'all we are iced. We are out of school. This is my 3-year-old. You want to say hi?
Good morning. You've got a whole audience here. We're excited to see you.
They're up in a different part of the country that always gets snow and ice. Isn't that wild?
Yes, we get a lot of snow up here.
Go see daddy. I love you. I love you. Go see daddy. All
By the way, Megan, don't rush those days. I hear
right.
that
Oh,
like
yeah. We've been working from home. We've been sledding. Today they're going to some we're doing this stuff. But I'm up at 7:30, right? I'm up at
yeah,
7:30 on a call with y'all. So
that's awesome.
they're the
So,
best.
so your process of improvement, and again, we're trying to get to the
Yeah.
essence of what is it that, sort of differentiates the person that treats this business like takes it to the next level. And somewhere in that process for you, you figured out you had to do some different stuff.
Well, and so I give my team the same checklist. And we all have agents that come and go, and we have agents that I think start out and they're like, yes, this sounds great and this is amazing and I can totally follow those processes and if I can just get to A, B, and C, right? What I encourage all of y'all is look beyond the checklist because you can always tell I can, and I'm sure Matt and them can, like if you're just checking the box, right? Like, okay, 2 social media posts a week. I go look at the social media posts and it's as dry gets, right? Like you're checking the box. You're sending out your weekly cards, you're checking the box. So I think that that's where it's to see the outcome of it in the end and say, I have kept track of this person. I've leaned into them. This ice storm is the perfect way, right? Like I have a roofer, I have an electrician, and I like because everybody's meter boxes got ripped off their houses, you guys. So before the electric company can even come back, we have to get our meter boxes fixed by a license. It's a whole thing here right now. Like everyone's kind of in dire straits. And so to have the roofer, to have the tree trimming company, to have the people that people need immediately, I'm just reaching out to people all the time. And I am doing that because I'm a nice person and I am a really nice person, but I'm also doing that really strategically. And I am
You're doing it with intention. Like again,
intention. Everything you do is with intention. So I think that you can go through and you can check the boxes of your checklist, or you can do it with that background notion and that deep down of this is the end goal, right? Like there is not a birthday I miss. We're very systematic, like I know everybody's like your database, but our database to us is like our pot of gold. And at the end of that pot of gold is every year of business. We only get business from past clients and repeat business. That is it. I've never done a Zillow lead. I've never done a realtor.com lead. I don't take relocation leads because I'm not giving you 42%. Like I don't like we only do our past clients and our current clients and we just take such great care of them. And so like I will not miss your birthday. I will not miss your wedding anniversary. I will not miss your house anniversary. I will not miss your kids' birthdays. We have like a VIP list that if they give us a certain amount of business a year, then we gift them a couple of times a year in a bigger fashion. And we revamp that VIP list every year. We make it kind of exciting, right? Like we're like, we tell them why they're getting these big gifts. We don't just drop these big gifts off. We're like, you are such a supporter of our company. We could never do this without you. And we really make everybody feel like seen, loved, heard. And that is through database, that is through the daily checklist. And so I think it is easy to go through and just say, okay, check. And then 180 days later, 6 months later, you're like, I'm not getting any business. And it's because your heart's not in it. And you're not sitting and marinating on the why am I doing this? And
Right. You're just the next
checking the
person that
box.
sent them a refrigerator magnet. If you don't like you nailed it. Like I love the essence of this because what by the way, guys, I have to say I didn't set her up. This all sound familiar? Like this all sounds like something you've all freaking
I
heard
know.
before.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. I didn't set Megan up for this. I didn't know that she was going to say all that.
Mhm.
But the point that you just made is a really valid one. That if you're just another name with a refrigerator magnet and you're saying that's me deepening my relationship, you're kind of missing the point.
Yeah.
What Megan talked about around an ice storm, And then like she started to say, I'm not calling. And then she said, well, no, I do care. But the point is she's saying I'm intentional about it. And we just had 2.5 feet of snow in
Right.
different parts of Connecticut, right? Like it would have been, it's such an opportunity to become an ambassador for your community, the people that know you. Hey, do you need any snow stuff? By the way, be aware ice dams are 100% going to start happening. You should make sure that you roof rake your house. Like if you were to call every person you know and say that and never
Yeah.
ask about real estate and never have a comment about it, it doesn't matter that you're just the person they're going to call because you're the person that helped them when they needed it without it being just about a checklist. So I so
Yeah.
appreciate that philosophy, Megan, very much so.
Well, and I'm the same way. Like with my team, I'm like, when Mama says it, it's like your parents. Like when your parents say something, you're like, eye roll. I've heard this 95 times. And then when I bring somebody else on to say it, they're like, oh, okay. Did you hear what they said? I'm like, that's novel, isn't it? That's insane. It's like I've never
Right.
even heard that before.
You've never heard that
Um,
before.
So
Yeah.
I'm the same, but and just small stuff like a lot of the gas fireplaces, they have the switch to turn them on. Well, if your electricity's not on, you can't turn them on. But a lot of people don't know there's like a battery pack that is with it that you can back up. So I am all over Instagram. I'm like, don't forget your battery pack on your gas fireplace and all this stuff, right? So it's I had clients text me last night. We've got people that don't have a place to stay. Do you have a place that's short-term rentals? And I'm like, yes, here's the site that I use the most that a lot of people don't know about. So you're like being the source of the source and that person that you're going to fix their problem, right? And luckily I don't have any problems right now. I have power. I have had power. I'm with it. So I'm in a unique position that I don't have problems right now, but let me fix yours. And I have two
So,
bedrooms and two bathrooms. Please come stay with me.
the thing though, Megan, is that what you're talking about though, I think that you've touched on two very important things. The first one is that you can be at the center of the universe for all the people who might need anything,
Yeah,
and that will result in a large, extremely rewarding business. But you have to do the work part. Like just having resources or access isn't
yeah,
enough. The effort is making sure that everyone knows it. And it's
right,
it's effort. Make no mistake about it. Like it's effort. It's not a Facebook post, guys. Like it's
right,
more than that. It's
right,
it's the communication, it's the inviting them to events, it's the constant resources, it's a constant delivery of resources and value over
right.
time to deepen the relationship so that people know I know who I can rely on in a situation like this. This is the person that I'm going to call, whether it's ice dams or meter
Right.
boxes being ripped off the house, or I just need a snowplow person. So,
Or I'm getting a divorce and my husband is draining the accounts. And now the court says I have to sell the house and put all the money in the joint account. And I'm like, hold on, hold on, hold on.
yeah.
So that I think being people have a problem, you need to be able to solve it. And that's I think the best thing about having a team is real estate's a really lonely, lonely business. You can be on this island by yourself to figure all these answers out by yourself, and you don't have to be. So that's the amazing part about having a team is the group Slack and the group text message that's like, I've got this problem. Who's encountered this before? I'm 1,000% sure that somebody on this square has encountered this before, and they can help you through that. But being people want you to fix their problems and people of wealth want you to fix their problems. So that talk about raising your price point, right? So if they have a problem, you want to be the one to fix it. If they whether they're going to be homeless or their lease is ending or they just so it doesn't always have to come in the form of a sale. It will get there, but being able to fix their problems today and look at things out of the fishbowl, you become the first call and you want to be the first call, like for happy stuff, but also for sad stuff, right? Like death, divorce, all of that.
I think the ultimate, you
No,
mentioned
you just
divorce
want to be
earlier.
the resource.
Yeah, you mentioned divorce earlier, and I'll never forget the first time I got a call from a former client who said, "Hey, I need to talk," and he had become friend. We were friendly. We weren't like social friends, but we were friendly. We talked more than just because
Sure.
but he called. He's like, "We need to talk," and I had sold him and his wife a house about 4 years earlier, and he called me and he's like, "Hey, me and Jeannie decided last night we're going to get a divorce," and I
Mm,
was like, what? And he was like, yeah, so, you were the first person I wanted to call. And I was like, me? Like it was a
yeah,
wild experience.
yeah,
By the way, that has probably happened 6 or 7 times in my career at this point, where I'm the first person they call after that. which I've always been like, then I'm always like, have you talked to a lawyer? They're like, well, we
I know.
wanted to talk to you first
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
figured you could tell us, you could give me a lawyer, or you could tell me what to do with the house, or you could. And I've always found that fascinating because
Yeah.
if when you really do embed yourself as a resource for people,
Right.
those are the types of calls you get. You get a call like somebody can't figure out how to open their slider door, and they go like, I know who will know, Matt will know. And you
Yeah.
go like, again, like what part of what part of realtor says handyman? It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. That's the point. So
He'll figure it out, or he'll send me the correct YouTube, and I don't even have to think about it. And like, you're their first call. So when they go
yeah.
to sell, it's not even an option to not call you.
Mhm. Yeah, I love it. So Megan, let's go back to your timeline. So we sort of skipped ahead and got into a little
We
bit of
did.
sort of
Sorry.
philosophy. No, that's okay. That's good. So you're rolling solo, and it's like 2016 now. You decide I'm going to shift into, doing this all in, and I imagine you start to get some success, right? So this starts to show up for you as a solo agent. So talk to us about that first year or two where you're shifting out of the part-time, full-time job. You make the commitment. Like, what did your days look like? How did you start to get momentum? And then like when did you know, okay, I'm at max capacity, I'm gonna need some help? Like how did that decision process go?
Yeah. So was on a team, and a team kind of a similar size as I still run. So we had a couple of admin, we had a few agents, and the my team lead was not he wasn't the best leader, right? He got a lot of personal stuff. He wasn't always coming to team meetings, so I was running them. The agents were calling me because they didn't know how to write a contract, and he wasn't answering his phone. And so I became kind of this shoe-in for that position. And I just thought, I think I sold 34 houses that year, my first year on the team, and like really crushed it. All basically Zillow. And then, but I'm from here. I have a lot of friends here. I have a lot of bases here. So I also like leaned into that. Anybody in my database, and I worked my database hard. Like anybody that I could call, and I'd be like, hey, it's Megan. And they wouldn't be like, who? You're in my database. And I now
Mhm.
know because of Facebook, I now know your home address because of the tax records. I know your birthday. I know your wedding anniversary. Like I know your spouse's name. So I spent all my time building my database. And if I was like, hey, this is Megan, and you answered, you went into my database. Congratulations. And so that first year, I sold 34 houses. And that was when Nashville's price point was lower, y'all. It was 250. My highest price point I sold that year was 500.
By the
And
way, greatest gift ever is a low price point when you're building
yes,
your business
yes,
because it
because
teaches you the habits of how to actually go make a living.
it does. And it really, I think now because Nashville's average price point is over 1 million, I think it is really tough for agents when they get in and they're like, well, I want to do certain sales over 1 million. I'm like, do you know how long it takes to build that clientele, or that, and like to, deal with those clients, or, just know what they're looking for and all of that. So I do agree with you. So that was when Nashville's average price point was 250. So 34 sounds large, but it wasn't a ton of volume at the end of the day. Um, Towards the end of that year, I decided to not be on a team anymore and to go out on my own. I was getting married on New Year's Eve, and I just thought New Year's Day is a fresh cutoff. I did not go by myself. I also had a full-time admin I brought with me, and that's a lot to chunk off, right? Again, I am my only provider. I am the only person. I was like, I'm just gonna have to figure out how to pay her. And she just trusted me enough and knew my grit and my hustle enough that she was like, I'll come with you. Like that sounds great. So from day one, from 2017 to 2019, end of 2019, it was just me and her. And she wasn't licensed. She just did admin. She would fill out my contracts. I would approve them and complete them. Like she would answer emails. She would do the listing docs. And that year we did 64
Beautiful.
and almost 20 million, which for Nashville, once again, in that time was
Yeah,
a
but so you almost doubled your business in a year.
exactly because I just thought I'm screwed if I fail. And I
Right.
can't, but I would hit the mornings. I would be out at 7 a.m. because if I had a showing, we don't have a lot of traffic here. So we'll do anywhere like an hour outside the city. So it's like
Mhm.
I would go to this side for an hour, then I would go to this side for this appointment, then I would go up here. And I just really had to plan and time block my days out. And just, I was answering emails on the road and I would pull over and write offers and
Again, so timeline 2017
chaos.
2018, 17,
2019, 17
19,
to 19. Yep.
17
Three
to 19.
years.
Okay, so you touched on it, but I want you to walk me through. I know that you don't sell 64 houses without a system,
Right.
without a model, without a plan. I
Right.
know that doesn't happen. You cannot
Right.
accidentally sell 64 houses. I don't care what
No.
level of talent you have.
Yeah.
So walk me through, and I know this that there's no this wasn't every day, but give me the typical day. The typical day looks like what? I mean, you're closing a house a week, right? So you have a minimum. You're closing 1 to 2 houses a week, and that means you're putting 1 to 3 houses under contract every week, which means that you're probably doing 4 to 5 appointments a week,
Yes.
consultations. Like you're actually meeting with people to get them to hire you either as a buyer's agent or a listing agent, and also interested in what was your division of listings to, like, in that solo agent business, what was your division of listings to buyers?
Right. Up until a couple of years ago, our listings to buyers was a constant 33 to 66%. So one third of our business was listings, and then two-thirds of it was buyers. And buyers are really physically taxing. And I always say listings are very mentally taxing,
Oh,
right?
fair assessment. Yeah.
But yes, you just getting super organized and treating that day like the work day. So I know it sounds insane, y'all. You just got to build up to it. But like I didn't take days off. If I did an open house Sunday, I would talk to agents who'd be like, well, I would take Wednesday off because I worked Sunday. And I was like, that doesn't even actually compute in my brain. Taking a Wednesday off, I would feel terrible about myself. So don't live my life, but that's just the way that my brain works. But every day I would be out for appointments all day. And then I would get home and I would do my admin till 11 p.m. And so
So
I
just
would follow up on
clarify
my
for me,
emails, follow up on my appointments for the day and all that.
when you say out for appointments all day, you mean predominantly showings and consultations, right? So
Correct.
showings and listing appointments. So and then that night you get home, whatever time your showings end. That could be 4 in the afternoon, 6 in the afternoon, or 8 p.m. You
Right.
get home and then you prep for the next day and you go, okay, what do I have going on tomorrow? I've got a listing presentation. I've got these new buyers at this time. I've got to schedule showings, but you have an admin that's supporting you in this.
I do, but I was still doing a lot of admin because again, like we're getting our systems together, right? So she would do what she could during the daytime. But like if I had a buyer consult, I owed them a buyer consult follow-up email,
Yep.
right? If I had a
Yep.
listing appointment, I owed them a listing follow-up email. And my brain kind of works as I don't push things to tomorrow because I don't know what tomorrow brings and I can't control tomorrow. I can only control today. So I have a very strict, I will get that to you by EOD. And I always tell people my EOD is 11:59 Central Standard Time,
Right.
because I have gotten people emails at 11:40 and I've been like, I made it. I made it. And also that puts the pressure on me. If I say it out loud, I will do it. So if I'm like, I will get that to you by the end of today, I will get that to you by the end of tomorrow. Now they're expecting that from me and I will get it done instead of me just sitting back here saying it in my brain and then a week later they don't have their follow-up email. So that's so she would do what she could during the daytime, but we would also plan out our marketing. We would plan out our monthly mailers, like we would plan out our systems, we would plan out everything one day a year and then we had the entire year planned out because I don't want to think about my marketing mailer for June in May when I'm underwater because that's busy season. So we
Mhm.
just kind of figured out like what we could do I always say there's always something to do. So when my agents are sitting around and they're like, we took our dog to whatever today because I didn't have anything to do. And I'm like, then you're not thinking about things in the right way. Let's sit down and talk about that and let's work through like what there's always something to do. So in our down times, we would plan our monthly mailers for the entire year, our client events for the entire year. And like that's when we have a lot of doctors because I worked at Vanderbilt. We move a lot of doctors here. So like we want to make sure we're not missing match day, doctor's day, our female doctor's day, because women love that, our teacher's day, our nurse's day. So we would go through every year and we would pick out exactly what we were going to do and hit and what we were going to do for that. And then she had her marching orders for the year. So she wasn't up my backside and she wasn't sitting there like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. She knew exactly what she was supposed to be doing. But again, you don't need an admin to do that. You can do that. I just had the privilege of having her, but you can do that as a solo agent or as a team agent. You don't need support to do that.
I want to unpack two things. First of all, that's a plan, right? So once again, this wasn't by accident.
No,
You
nothing
didn't
is.
accidentally wake up one day and go, "Hey, let's plan an event." Hey, like there was an executable strategy,
Yep.
and then there was energy and effort toward making sure that the things that you said you were going to do got done. You
Yep.
had your own standards, not, and by the way, I lived that same life, worked 7 days a week for 5 years,
Yeah.
and I tell everybody, don't do what I did.
Yeah.
It was it got me where I wanted to go, but it was hard and difficult, and there were trade-offs at that
Yeah.
point in my life. And so, there's a faster, better, more efficient path than doing it that way. But you had a plan and you were executing every day. Everybody knew what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'm interested though, then you shift into, okay, now I need more leverage or something else. Like, so that world obviously was serving you at some point, but there was some next level decision where you said, let's build a team out of this.
Right.
What happened?
It was just that unsustainability, right? Like you can only do that. You have to put your time in. I believe that for every person on this call, you have to put your time in and you got to get organized and figure it out.
Well, you need
Um,
the reps. Like we always talk about it,
you
like
got to do the
you
reps.
got to
You
do the
have to.
reps. Like you can't become awesome
Yeah.
by sitting on the sidelines. Like you have to go get on the field, take the hits, have the calls, have
Write the
somebody.
you have to write the offers that failed. You have to have the tough
Yeah.
conversations. You have to do that follow-up email 16 times. You have to write the contract so that you can whiz through a contract in 5 minutes now. Some of my agents still take hours to write contracts, and I'm like, oh, my brain would explode. I can whip one out in 14 minutes, because we write our own contracts here. We don't have we're not an escrow state, so we write our own contracts. But yes, you can't do that forever. You can't do that 7 day grind forever. And so I knew I needed to, again, buyers are very physically exhausting, listings are very mentally exhausting. So I knew I needed a showing assistant or a buyer agent to help take some of that car time because we do show so far from our houses. I was just spending so much time in the vehicle. I thought about hiring a driver. So I priced out a driver that was $46,000 a year. And I was like, well, instead of hiring a driver, why don't I hire a person and they can help and do the driving? So that was kind of the foundation of everything. So then there was three of us. We had two agents and an admin, and then it just kind of built from there. But I'm always like, what can I do to buy my time back? And I think again, everybody doesn't have to be in this like team lead business owner mentality, but each of you are your own business owner, right? Like, yes, you have Matt, and yes, you have Corey, and yes, you have the leadership of the team. But at the end of the day, like you are Jeremy CEO, you are Bennett CEO, you are Tori CEO. Like you guys are the people and you are in charge of your own day and you are in charge of your productivity and you are in charge of your outcome in your life. So how can you build your business leveraging your leadership and not wasting money and wasting time and using the mistakes that all of us went through and being the CEO of your own day. So I say,
Megan,
everybody doesn't want to be a team lead, and I get that. And I know I'm over here and I've got all these resources, but I didn't always have all these resources, and you can do it if you just get organized.
you did something though that, and this is again, we've had a lot of really, really talented high performers come and speak to us. The common thing though that I think differentiates people, you had the capacity and ability to do the work first before you sought the leverage. And one of the things that I think people do erroneously, one of the mistakes I see is people getting to a point where they hear you speak, they see what I've done, they see what high performers have done, and they jump to like, well, I sold 12 houses last year. I immediately want to jump to what Megan did and
Yeah,
get a driver or get a showing agent or and it's like
right.
the leverage is earned through the lessons of knowing what to leverage. The vast majority of agents will leverage the wrong thing. It's always going to be different. There are certain things you want to leverage, your admin, your contract writing. Like there's things that for a fact are not revenue producing. But whether you got a driver or a showing agent was a decision you had to make based on the way the way you experienced pain in your life and the
Right.
way that you could solve the problems that you needed to solve.
Right.
And I see that all too often that people say like, "Oh, I know how I'll be successful like Megan. I'll go get all the same leverage that she has." But you had to pay for all that.
Well, it's just also not a copy paste system, right?
Love that. It is not a copy paste system. It's a unique individual. Everybody's going to have to build it their own way, right? So, but I want to talk about the economics because you had to make a decision first to hire an admin, then to leverage certain parts of the business by paying for it because it's not an unlimited. There's no unlimited bank account, right? Like there's an amount of money that has to get allocated in order to
Oh
to
yeah.
provide that resource. So, that's usually a tough decision for people. How did you get there?
So my first admin, I just said I'm going to figure it out. And I always, my team knows, my marketing director's on this call too. She's just in the background and she's the most amazing person. But my team knows they get paid first. And there's some months I don't get paid, but my staff gets paid first. They will always be paid. I don't care what happens. They will always be paid. And then my marketing gets paid. My credit card bills get paid. The team credit card bills get paid. Like my family is last and that's okay. But that's just the pressure that's on me, to do that and to pay everything. Um,
Boy, those months when you don't get paid though, are those are not fun. I've been there too. Those are not fun months where you
no.
say, "Oh wow, I got up every day. I put 12 to
Uh-huh.
14 hours of work in. I served everybody, my clients, the
Yeah.
team, the admin. I showed up, responded to every call, did everything I was supposed to, and everyone got paid but me."
Yeah. And that is tough. And um, I try not to sit in that.
Well, you can't.
Um,
Yeah, you
you
can't
can't
be a
sit,
leader
you
and say
can't.
that. Right.
Well, because every day you just got to get up and go. And I promise y'all, if you just get up and go and you're doing the task and you're doing it, you will sell as many houses as you want to sell. So it's when agents come back to me and they're like, I just didn't have a great year. I'm like, well, let's look at it. You were gone every weekend for weddings in the summer. You got married. You know what I mean? Like I can look at your calendar and go back, but I think that a lot of people don't want to look at their own calendar. They don't want to look in the mirror. And that's where I'm the tough mirror, right? Where it's like, okay, let's sit down and decide and see why maybe you didn't have the year that you wanted to have because your schedule did not allow for you to have the year that you wanted to have,
Or
right?
your effort didn't match your outcome. And
Yeah.
you again, with care and candor and love and appreciation, without judgment, like, but just acknowledge that
Yeah.
work didn't go in to get the output. Right.
You got to look in the mirror. Well, and I know that so a few years ago, what we ended up doing was, and y'all probably do this for each other, you cover each other, and you should. That's the point of a team is like, hey, I'm out of town for
Yeah.
this vacation, or I'm having a baby, or whatever it is. So we always sit down and there's always coverage. And we made a coverage schedule to make sure that everybody felt like they were getting compensated like they felt like they should, right? Like I love y'all. I'm not getting out of bed for $100 to go show a house. I'm not putting my makeup on. I'm not getting out of bed. I'm not doing that for you. And I love you. I'm just not doing that for you. So we made a schedule of like, okay, this chunk of showings, you get paid X% of the commission. If you write the contract, you get paid this much. If you go to the inspections and you do the repairs, this like right. So we had a schedule and everybody agreed upon it. Everybody agreed, yes, this is fair to get paid. Everybody agreed, yes, I would pay this, right? So we came up with this like showing schedule as to everybody. And I still will have agents that are like, well, I was out of town and I didn't, and I'm like, I'm on the group text. Why didn't that agent see the house? It's like, oh, I just didn't want to pay them. And I'm like, oh, one, not your choice. That's a team choice. But two, you have to leverage people and you have to leverage your time. So if you can get your time back by paying Susie 15% of your commission and you get to get your time back to either spend time with your kids and your family or to show that higher end client or to go to that listing appointment, the abundance over scarcity mindset will also make you the utmost success and the utmost money. And I think it's that scarcity mindset of, oh, I don't want to give Susie a 15% chunk of my commission for showings that day. Okay, that scarcity mindset and holding all of your money and all of your resources as close as you can is going to cost you more in the long run than it's going to cost you today. So, does that answer your question as far as like leverage and resources
No,
and all
it's
that?
actually it actually opens up a door into a conversation we could have for like a solid hour about how to effectively leverage and understand the power of it. So, really, really good. You know what? I can't believe it, but we've almost burned an entire hour together here, Megan, which is
I love
amazing.
that. I love it.
What I would like to do, if you're open to it, is just sort of, hey guys, if you've got questions for Megan before we wrap up here, Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts? What did you take away today? Megan, this has been unreal. There's a ton of stuff, again,
You guys are awesome.
around just sort of your philosophy, around how you've approached the business, around how you've grown it. So who's got something for Megan? Who's got a question, a comment? What did you take away? Let's give her some props here. Everybody being shy today?
They're not awake yet. It's Friday, Matt.
Tony, what do you got, buddy? First of
Thank you.
all, turn your heat on, dude. You got to turn your heat on.
Dude, it's like at 64 right now. It's
I
not
mean,
going
it
any
looks
higher.
cold.
Okay,
It looks
okay.
cold there, bud.
We can
All
do
right.
64. We can deal with that.
What are you thinking, Tony?
So Megan, thank you so much for coming on the call, sharing all the knowledge. My question to you is, what kept you going? Like you were grinding? Was there a North Star? And what reminded you of that? Like when the alarm went off, I don't know, if it's 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, what came to your mind? Like, what was Megan drive to like, you know what, fuck it, I gotta do this.
Oh, like on the days I wanted to give up.
Yeah.
You know what, Tony? I don't think giving up was ever an option for me. And I don't know if that's a mindset of an insane person. But there was never like a plan B. Does that make sense? Like there was never like oh, if this doesn't work out, this is what I'm going to go do. It was just, if that's not working and that's not making me money, I'm a quick pivot. So, and we still do this to this day. Every 4 months, we sit down and we say, where do we put our time? Because that's my most valuable asset, right? If you waste my time, that agitates me to my core. I will give you all my money. I don't care, but my time is precious. So, what have we spent our time on, our money on, and did it have a return? And we do that once every 4 months. We do that 3 times a year. And if we did this farming campaign that produced one client, was that worth it? Based on what stamps are, based on what time it takes. Like I used to door knock. Like my assistant would like fold the papers and I would put them on the mailboxes, y'all. Like, I mean, we were at critical times because I had no money. I didn't have any money for stamps. And I would go out once a week. I would spend an entire day putting notes on people's mailboxes in entire neighborhoods. And so we look back and we say, did that make us money? Was that worth our time? And we do that today. So for y'all, I would encourage like whatever, there just has to be a moment, and I do this together. Sit down because don't do it alone. That life is too lonely. Don't do this alone. Sit down with somebody that matches your grit and matches your drive. Sit down with someone that is doing bigger than you. That's another thing too. I'm never hanging out with people strategically that are doing exactly what I'm doing, if not less than me. And I don't do that to be ugly. I do that by design, because if you have a tax strategy because you make way more money than me, I want to learn how to save my taxes. If you're selling bigger homes than me, I want to know what you're doing to sell those bigger homes, because I want to sell those bigger homes. So I'm always hanging out with people. So sit down, 2 or 3 of y'all, once every quarter, once every 3 months, and say, this is what I've spent my time on. This is what I'm feeling frustrated about. This is what I have spent my money on. This was my result. This was my ROI. If my ROI is not getting me there, then what pivots do I need to make in my time and my money allocation? And once you do that enough times, it just becomes like innate in your brain. Every time you make a decision, every day, every week, every month, every year, is this a good use of my time? If it's not, don't do it anymore.
It's a very powerful feedback loop that highly successful people engage in all the time, is they recognize their only objective is to compress time and get as much value out of it as they can. It's not to get to the point where they have nothing to do. Because nothing to do means you're dead. So don't race to the point where you have nothing to do. Your job is to fill your time with things to do that get you the best outcome, that move you toward your goal. Again, your goal. It doesn't have to be sell 300 houses. It could be have a deeper relationship. It could be make more friends. It could be travel the world. But whatever your goal is, you need to compress your time to get the highest ROI out of it in order to get you closer to it. That was awesome, Megan. Aaron Burnap, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Initiative for your story and your candid revelation about going through a divorce. I'm a member of the divorce community with 3 kids, and it's not a club you want to belong to. So thank you for sharing that. I also resonated with the being on a team, then going out on your own, and now having a team. So I went team, individual, now I'm on Matt's team. So I've kind of followed that same trajectory. So your wisdom in those little pockets was great. And I love that you're a faith-based human and that you definitely have God at the center of your world. But I can sense your kindness. And one of the things I want you to know that I respect about that is that you have standards despite your kindness, and you don't let your kindness walk all over your business. Because when you said to the team member that not your call, I was out of town, I didn't know about whatever, you're like, well, that's not your call, that's a team's call. I very much appreciate having standards as being a part of a team, and that there is a high level of expectation of everyone in our locker room, as Matt calls it. So the fact that you have kindness, but you don't allow that to compromise the integrity of the team, I respect that so much. So thank you for sharing about your systems and your focus on leverage. It's a good reminder for all of us to use that leverage to the best of our ability, especially early in the year. If we're not doing it, we should pick up the pace, because we are very blessed on this team to have a lot of leverage, and we don't always take advantage of it. Some of us are control freaks, me included.
Yeah.
So, so I just wanted to share those little tidbits I took away. So
Erin.
thank you.
Thank you so
Love
much.
it. Thank you, Erin. All right, guys. So I want to make sure, Megan, that we deliver value to you, because you have delivered a ton of value to us this morning. How can we, you've got 32 top performing real estate agents in the Northeast, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. How
Yeah.
can we serve you? How can we help you? Where is there a social media following that we can support you on? Is there a place that we can show up and say, wow, Megan was awesome? Like, what's the primary initiative for you? What can we do to help you today?
You guys are great. That's really lovely. We, and my marketing director on here appreciates that too, Abby. We are the Jernigan Group at Compass on Instagram. And I know Abby has really big, lofty goals. We're across all platforms the same. So she has lofty goals for Instagram followers, but she also has lofty goals for YouTube followers. So if you guys could do a quick like on both of those, we would be so grateful. And Abby, you can put those links in the chat if you want to, and like a quick link, quick follow, like click. And then just think of us when you have clients come down. I know the Northeast, we have a big campaign going on right now in New York City, just because of the mayor-elect that came in, and a lot of people moving to the South because of that. So I would say if y'all just have anybody moving to this Middle Tennessee region, we would love to be the partner on that.
Love it. Love it. All right. So we've got some links. We're going to go ahead and we're going to follow. We're going to like and follow. Smash that subscribe button. I heard you say stuff like that. We're going to do that. We're going to have an amazing, and then we're all going to make sure that we go out and have an amazing day and follow the lead of Megan, who has shown us a path to going and blasting through. Everybody make it a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Y'all. See you later. Thank you so much, Megan.
Godspeed.